In the heart of the Mediterranean lies a small island, sunlit, ancient, beautiful. An island that became the most bombed place on Earth, Malta.
17 miles long. Basically a rock with an attitude problem, and right in Hitler's flight path.
Between 1940 and 1942, it was attacked more than 3,000 times. And in the middle of it all, a young pilot, Denis Barnham, sitting in his Spitfire, looking through one man's window.
His cockpit, his diary, his sanity, barely hanging on.
This is the story of Siege of Malta and how Rommel lost the Southern Theater. June 10, 1940. Italy declares war. Malta lay 60 miles south of Sicily, 180 from Libya, surrounded by Axis airfields and fleets. In North Africa, Rommel's Africa Corps was pushing toward Egypt and the Suez Canal.
And Rommel's supply line, straight across the Mediterranean, fuel, ammo, tanks, all sailing right past Malta. Whoever controlled Malta could choke Rommel's Africa Corps of fuel and food. So Hitler and Mussolini decided, fine, if we can't feed Rommel, we'll starve Malta first.
The island became the target of relentless bombardment.
Relentless as in 154 consecutive days of air raids.
Her defenses? 4 old Gladiator biplanes, 5 Swordfish torpedo planes, and 42 anti-aircraft guns. The British garrison nicknamed the Gladiators Faith, Hope, and Charity.
Cute names, because that's all they had. And yet, Malta endured.
In April 1941, Malta averaged an air raid every 2.5 hours.
Imagine hearing the siren again and again, running to the limestone tunnels carved into rock, candlelight, sweat, dust, the smell of stone and fear. Then morning comes, and you dig out the dead.
Beneath the bombardment, life continued underground. Families lived in limestone tunnels. Pilots slept beside their aircraft, waiting for the next siren.
Yet the people stayed. The RAF stayed. Even the pigeons kept flying through the smoke.
Water was rationed. Food nearly gone. But hope? That refused to die.
And then came Denis Barnham, artist, dreamer, Spitfire pilot, flying into the storm.
Barnham arrived in 1942, part of a desperate reinforcement. He kept a diary, fragments of thought, sketches, half-formed prayers. His diary became one man's window, an honest, intimate record of days spent flying through fire.
You can feel the exhaustion in every line. He's trying to make sense of chaos, paint beauty onto something burning.
He wrote, "How strange that such beauty can exist in a world at war."
That's poetic talk for, I can't believe I'm getting strafed in paradise. But he meant it. He saw sunsets through smoke, and it broke him and healed him all at once.
Through that window he watched friends vanish into the sea, and the island beneath him refused to fall. From May to October 1942, aircraft from Malta sank almost 100,000 tons of Axis shipping, tankers, troop ships, freighters. Every convoy they hit made Rommel's desert army thirstier, hungrier, slower.
And for every victory, another raid followed. The island bled. 716 Allied aircraft lost defending this speck of rock. But Malta still stung the Axis like a hornet's nest that refused to die.
The pilots of Malta were few. Some days only 3 Spitfires took off to face dozens of enemy bombers.
3 against 30. Not odds, just bad math. You either came back a hero or didn't come back at all.
On May 10, 1942, Barnham climbed into his Spitfire to intercept a formation of Ju-88's bombers escorted by Messerschmitt 109s. He spotted a pair diving out of the sun.
Classic Luftwaffe trick. Blind them with light, then shred them.
He pulled hard into a turn, blacking out for a moment under the G-force. When he came to, he found himself on a German's tail, squeezed the trigger, and saw flames bloom from the enemy's engine.
1 down, but no time to celebrate. Another Mi-10-9 came straight at him, a head-on pass at 600 kilometers an hour.
Both fired, both missed. The two planes flashed past so close he could see the other pilot's goggles.
That's not combat. That's two men trying to occupy the same cubic meter of sky.
He returned with holes in his wings and blood on his boot. A small cut, nothing more. But another friend didn't return.
And that was the math of Malta. Victory counted in survival. Barnham returned back to Britain, but the struggle continued.
By August 1942, Malta was starving. No fuel, no food, no hope, until a convoy set sail from Gibraltar on the 9th of August.
Operation Pedestal, the gamble of the war. 14 merchant ships, protected by 2 aircraft carriers, 2 battleships, and a swarm of destroyers.
Their mission, bring fuel and food to Malta, or watch the island die or surrender. From the moment they entered the Mediterranean, they were hunted.
The Axis knew. More than 540 enemy aircraft, submarines, and E-boats attacked the convoy in waves.
On August 12th, the carrier Eagle was torpedoed and sank within minutes. Bombers hit the cruisers Manchester and Cairo. Ships burned in every direction.
It was like watching an entire fleet bleed out in slow motion.
But one ship, the tanker SS Ohio, refused to give up. She took a torpedo hole 27 feet by 24 feet, decks shattered, engines dead. Yet she stayed afloat, barely, lashed between 2 destroyers like a wounded beast being dragged home. Sailors fought fires with bare hands, patched holes with mattress stuffing. Every gallon of her 11,500 tons of aviation fuel meant Malta might live another week.
So the Royal Navy did the impossible. Lashed 2 destroyers to her sides and towed her through the air raids, literally holding her up as she sank.
For 3 days they crawled forward, 50 miles an hour, slower than hope itself.
Half sunk, held together by willpower and rope.
On the 15th of August, feast day of the Assumption, she limped into Grand Harbor. The island's bells rang through ruins. It wasn't just a ship that arrived. It was salvation.
The ship collapsed as she docked, but her cargo, 10,000 tons of aviation fuel, saved Malta.
That fuel powered the Spitfires that kept the island alive, and those Spitfires struck back, severing Rommel's supply lines, turning the desert tide.
So one dying tanker in a shattered harbor helped decide the fate of North Africa. That's not just logistics, that's legend.
Historians still ask, what if the island hadn't held?
Who knows? Perhaps Rommel, the desert fox, would have had the fuel to reach the Middle East, straight to the oil fields. Britain's empire could have been cut in 2. World War II could have ended very differently.
But Malta stood firm, a fortress of resistance, holding the line between darkness and daylight.
The rock that wouldn't break, the punch Hitler couldn't land.
The George Cross, Britain's highest civilian gallantry award, was pinned not to a soldier, but to the island itself.
An entire country got a medal. Think about that. Because Malta didn't win by might. It won by endurance.
They cleared the rubble, rebuilt the harbor, and flew again. Children played where bombs once fell. Denis Barnham returned home, his diary complete. He'd looked through war's window and seen both its horror and its beauty.
He didn't write about victory. He wrote about endurance, about holding on when everything says let go.
Through Barnum's eyes, we glimpse the soul of Malta, its pain, its defiance, its quiet grace.
One man's window, one island's stand. Proof that even in hell, people still look for the light.
And sometimes they find it.
Hmm.